Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we're so pleased to have a return appearance of the National Academy of Athletics. Founder and CEO is in the house, Aaron Locks. How you doing, Aaron?
Man, if I was any better, it'd be illegal.
Yeah, okay. Well, we don't want to have you arrested for having good things here, joined by your colleague, Abby Ross, a camp director for the organization. How you doing, Abby?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Fine. How long have you been involved with this group?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half. What got you interested in it?
Well, when I originally was looking for jobs, I wanted to work with kids, and I had never worked for an athletics company, and I thought it was a really interesting opportunity. And I met Aaron, and immediately I was like, I can see this enthusiasm through him. And I met all the people really soon after, and everyone was just so enthusiastic and happy to be a part of it. And I was really excited to be.
Yeah, it's too bad the founder and CEO, Aaron, is just not excited about what he does. This just oozes out of him, which I think is so great. It's infectious in a very good way. Abby, did you play sports when you were growing up in high school, college, pro? Yeah.
Yeah. So growing up, I played I kind of went back and forth between a lot of different sports.
Sure.
But my main sport, I played volleyball for about 6 years.
Okay.
And then when I got to high school, the basketball coach saw me in PE class and was like, come do basketball. And I said, I've never played basketball. He said, I don't care, come play. And so I started playing and I fell in love with it. And yeah, those were my main sports. I also did track and field. So I did some athletics stuff when I was in grade school.
Right. So obviously athletics, the name in the title there. I loved our conversation. We could have done a 5-hour conversation before just because of the connections with you and Coach Wooden. And of course, my background growing up pretty much on the UCLA campus on this. Before we sort of get into the mission, I do want to bring this up, and I knew you were coming in. You knew Bill Walton. I knew Bill Walton. I was actually doing a remote at Mount Soledad National Veterans, where they have all the plaques of the folks who are actually currently in the military or alive, actually the veterans that are alive. And my phone started blowing up, and Bill is gone. Bill Walton, there's the legendary basketball player from UCLA, and certainly Boston Celtics, Portland Trail Blazers, and of course, most importantly, a huge community leader. What impact did that have on you?
It was a sad day, I'll be honest with you. His impact, I just remember when I started working for Coach Wooden,
right,
and we would go out and teach, and then seeing this mountain of a man,
right,
with this little man,
mm-hmm.
and their connection,
right.
It just it really cemented just how much an impact a coach can have on someone's life.
Right.
And I love Bill. He overcame so much.
He did.
Right. And gave back so much. And he was a deadhead, so he couldn't be all bad, right?
Well, I mean, listen, your mission, and Bill is a poster child for all that's good when it comes to athletics and everything in between, community leader and something. And I thought I was really proud of this. I knew Bill pretty well, and Lori, of course, his unbelievable bride. And, the thing that was interesting when I got these text messages, you probably did the same. 5 of the people, I couldn't respond to it because I was doing a podcast, but would say, Drew, I remember when you introduced me to Bill at the Hall of Champions event, and Bill treated me like he knew me my entire life. And that's what it's all about. So as my co-host, Kristen Fogel, comes back into the studio here, Kristen's the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. Talk about the mission of the organization, Aaron.
Well, and Bill's, like you said, a perfect example
right.
in terms of how to do it. We're changing kids' lives. We're blessed. I mean, Abby is not just a camp director, but she's actually the area captain manager for the North County. So when we're running the programs, the gist of what we're trying to do is help kids go back to fall in love with youth sports, right? That's a big piece of this. But we're doing so much more, and that is teaching kids the social and emotional skills the ability to thrive rather than just survive school, life, everything else.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that social emotional piece is so important. You see a lot of that in school programs now, thankfully, which is great. I have a little one and I appreciate that because, it's just so important. Talk a little bit about why you founded the organization. Were you finding that there weren't enough programs like this, or I won't speak for you. You speak.
Well, it goes back to, my dad left when I was 3, and my first experience was as a baseball coach when I was 7. And I had coach after coach after coach in my life that gave back. And it's funny, when we meet Abby and others, it's the same story. A coach had a positive impact on their life, and that's why they want to be involved in this level. So the founding of this comes from, very simply, there's a need for kids to learn and continue to play sports. And we have this amazing vehicle to do it. I don't think there's any better life skill teaching tool than youth sports.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this. So it's very simple. It's to help kids, give them a chance to become leaders rather than followers, to thrive in life. And that's what it's about. So we say we're building healthy bodies and happy hearts.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe the same thing. I'm kind of a drama geek, and so the same thing. that helped me.
Oh yeah.
And that if I could throw a ball a little bit better, maybe I'd be in that camp. But just talk a little bit about where you are in San Diego and what kinds of sports you offer.
So we're all over the county. We have our South County sector, which focuses more on like the Mesa area.
My sector, yeah.
And then we have our North County area, which is the San Marcos, around here area. And we do 11 different sports, including, I just found out that we do pickleball as well.
Okay, that's smart.
Which is very picking up popularity. But we do volleyball. We're starting some baseball and softball camps this year. Flag football, dodgeball, and then all sports camps where we kind of put a taste of a little bit of everything into one camp, and they can experience everything. And then we divide our camps from ages 4 to 6 and then 7 to 12.
That's great. Yeah, I know that kind of all around camp. That's the one I'm interested in for my kiddo, because I'm like, that's brilliant. You can get a little bit of everything.
I just got back from Project Play, which is an Aspen Institute study of youth sports and play.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Sports sampling is a big word right now.
Okay.
When Drew and I were kids, we just played. It wasn't a sports sample. We just played sports.
From the time 8 in the morning, you brought your basketball, your football, your baseball, the bat, the mitt, and you did all 3 sports.
Yeah.
And then you came in at 7 at night or something like that, correct?
Right. I'm going to tell a story, and I hope no one's listening. But here's the deal.
Well, they better be listening, or else I'll be out of the business.
We couldn't afford equipment, right, when we would play with our friends. So Friday at school, we would purposely throw up on the roof some of the equipment for an elementary school. No one's looking, right? And then what we would do
I'm going to call the superintendent. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
At Tam Valley School in Mill Valley, California.
Well, you're telling me way too much information.
Shh, we're not being recorded, right? So,
well,
but
we are.
We would climb. We would climb up and pick up the equipment.
That's so smart.
Play, and then we would just leave it by the front door of the office, so it was there. Because of liability, we didn't have to worry about it back then.
Yeah.
But you're right. And sports sampling and playing is big. Abby and the staff that has been assembled are there because they have a love for kids and sports and playing. They use our Talk, Teach, Play system, and kids love it. And it's focused on fun and learning, skill development, both to make them successful on the field and in life, rather than focusing on winning and losing. Going back to Coach Wooden, focus on the effort rather than...
There's no question. We're chatting with Aaron Locks. He's the founder and CEO of the National Academy of Athletics, joined by his colleague, Abby Ross, Camp Director. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year. We're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things for organizations, individuals in San Diego County. And, let me ask you this, Abby. So you love volleyball, and then your coach saw you playing, and said, you need to play basketball. Well, I haven't shot a hoop in my life. Well, you're going to be playing basketball. Talk about how important athletics was to you growing up and how it is to you now as a young adult.
Well, but me and my dad, my sister and my dad had their thing where they would go see movies and everything. And I was the sports kid. My dad was like, I'll be the coach. So he coached all my volleyball camps and everything that I did. So I played volleyball with him for years and years and years. And we also used to do this dodgeball thing. It was for DDRF, for diabetes. And that was like one of my favorite, honestly, like one of my favorite memories with my dad. So I even had like just a bond with my dad through sports. So that was really important to me. And then as I got older, I started having to be a part of school things and doing camps and sports and everything. But I also had a love for theater, and I so I'm also a theater music person, and I found a way to like balance both.
So you can do everything. I get it.
Yeah,
okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. You just gotta make time for the things you love. But I kind of kept with sports through high school, and through college, I kind of lost a little bit of that sports motivation. I was focused more on school, but now this gives me an opportunity to kind of become the person that I wanted, or become the role models that I had, and be that person for someone else.
I'm going to bring up something here that is so spot on, and it's a perfect example of why Aaron's doing what he's doing. And, Kristen, who is just so talented, obviously runs a great organization. She's theater, she's a writer, she's been a magazine publisher, blah, 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 blah. But we have a lot of theater groups on our show.
Okay.
Kristen knows many of them because she's probably performed with them and so forth. But the connection between athletics and being the theater, the teamwork you need, the confidence you need, the thick skin you need, because they have coaches that will say things what they need to say, and I'm sure they have directors that will tell you what they need to do. And that is why athletics is so important no matter what you're getting into, whether it's theater, you're getting into a corporate environment. It's a no-brainer. It's absolutely a no-brainer. Talk about that, Aaron.
So here's a crazy stat that I think should scare everybody listening, but it's really important.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, 3rd through 8th grade kids would lose approximately 3 years to catch up academically. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the sad part. Up to 8 years socially and emotionally. Wow. That means that like, what? So here's the interesting thing. Those that are in theater, those that are involved in team sports,
right?
It goes right back down to 3 years. So we're doing more than just teaching sports. We're saving lives. We're helping kids develop confidence and all those. So for us, we focus, again, it's all about the fundamentals and fun. Our goal is they have so much fun that they want to come back and play sports again. If we've done that, mission accomplished.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to speak to that because it's not only COVID. It's something that you two were talking about earlier, which is how I grew up, which is you come back in off of the street when the lights go on, right? And that's not how it is anymore.
No.
Raising a 5-year-old.
No.
Those kids don't play in the neighborhood together. No. Nobody has their kids outside, ready, at the ready to, there's a cul-de-sac, perfectly good cul-de-sac there. Nobody is doing that now. There's so much more fear and divisiveness and things like that. So the programs that you offer are so important because that's the time that they get to do those things together.
And here's another stat, and I feel like I'm the stat guy these days.
No, it's...
that 71% of what a child hears every single day is a direction or a correction. What's your son or daughter's name?
Declan.
Declan, time to get up. Hey, Declan, come on, you got to get breakfast.
Yep.
Declan, rinse your bowl out. Declan, go brush your hair, brush your teeth. Declan, get dressed. Okay, we got to get to school. Declan, where's your backpack?
Yep.
Right? Reminder, at school, sit here in English, double space. In math, show your work. After school, we got to hurry up because we have soccer practice. Right. Then you got to get home, finish your homework, and then take a bath, then go to bed. When does Declan get to be a kid? Through our camps, we've done a structure with our Talk, Teach, Play. That's why Abby and the amazing team does it, to open it up so they can have fun and they can play and experience failure without judgment. Consequences, absolutely, because there's games and rules, but forget the judgment. Let's just have fun and play, and that's what inspires me to want to keep doing.
Yeah, we'll come back from break. I want to chat more about how to choose a good summer camp and so forth, and what you get out of it, and everything that's in between on that. And I think you and I talked about this, Aaron. We could just do this show pretty much every day and never run out of topics to talk about. And then we always save time at the end, as you know, what our listeners listeners can do to support you folks in that vein. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, just doing so many good things in San Diego County. We're going to be right back with our friends from the National Academy of Athletics, Aaron Locks and Abby Ross, and my co-host, Kristen Fogel. She's the Executive Director of San Diego Writers Inc. We'll be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Honored to have back in the studio with us Aaron Locks, founder and CEO of the National Academy of Athletics, joined by his colleague Abby Ross, Camp Director, and of course my longtime co-host Kristen Fogel. So long, and hopefully she'll be doing this for many, many moons to come.
We'll see how you treat me.
That's very good. This will be her last show, and so Abby,
goodbye everyone.
That's right. You're effective immediately. Going to take over right now. Kristen's the Executive Director of San Diego Writers Inc., celebrating their 20th anniversary at Liberty Station this year. Kristen.
Yeah. So let's get into it. How do you choose a good summer camp?
I'll talk about the nuts and bolts, and then she can talk about the more fun stuff.
Let's do it.
In this day and age, we started talking about it earlier, is safety has got to be number one. Mm-hmm. It's a little scary to me as someone who's been in the camp business 40 years. I started when I was young, just so you know. The deal is who's coaching your kids, right? Mm-hmm. Have they been background checked? Have they been certified, trained? What are they trained on? Mm-hmm. So it's really important you know who is doing the coaching. And there's a difference between parent volunteer and paid staff. And I'm not knocking parent volunteer, but there is a difference, right? Having someone, you've already heard the amazing Abby. I mean, I want my kids, your child, Declan, to go to that camp in La Mesa and get that experience.
Heck yeah.
So that's one. You got to know who's staffing. Two, what's the philosophy of the camp or the program? This summer, okay, I've got my kid. I want to get out there. They've never played sports before. I want to go to sports sampling or the wonderful all sorts of sports to learn and fall in love. Now, there's competitive camps. There's all these other areas. The problem is right now, everybody's being sold a bill of goods to push your kids. Declan's about to get a college scholarship. Did you know? Stay in my program. 12. You know, we'll get into that another day, right? But
100%.
So know the philosophy of the camp. The third is then know your destination of the program, because if you're driving, an hour and a half to get there and all that, and is it a good environment?
Right.
So those are the main three. The last one's obviously important is price point. Does it fit your budget? And I'm going to tell you this because we purposely don't do top dollar.
No, you guys have an excellent price point from looking at your camps. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
And we're probably worth more.
Yeah.
We pay the staff well.
For sure.
We got amazing staff. But the thing is that people believe, well, if I pay $500 a week, it must be a great camp.
No.
Not necessarily.
No.
But Abby can break down a little bit more about what makes it amazing and the importance of that as a parent to understand.
Yeah.
Usually the first day of camp, I'll sprinkle, like if for an all sports camp, I'll do a little bit of everything. And I always want to know what the kids want to do. Like I want them to have some semblance, some sense of there's things that I want to do, and I want to be able to communicate that and maybe get better in whatever sport. And usually I would say the most popular answer is soccer. I'm not very good at soccer. So it's also a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
I'm also learning things through them. So, I mean, I think no matter what sport that your kid excels in or what they like, I think it's great for them to try everything, and that's why the all sports camps are great. But I also love doing the single ones, because you have kids that are super, super, super passionate and have a lot of experience, and then you also have some kids that really have never touched a ball before, and they just work together so well. It's nice. You would think that it wouldn't work out, but I honestly, like, they kind of take a sense of, they balance each other out. They're like, oh, I need to, work on my teamwork, or I need to work on my stamina or whatever. They feed off of each other, and it's really nice. And I, also as the coach, you feed off of them too. You learn things from them, they learn things from you, and it's a nice dynamic.
Yeah. You guys also offer like spring break and winter break camps too, right?
We do. Again, we're all over
so
the
nice.
nation, and we're franchising.
Right.
It's out there. But
Right.
we also realize that, Thanksgiving break, it'd be nice as a parent, put your child, whether it's 9 to noon or 9 to 3.
Right.
We're working on expanding into San Diego and adding more. That's part of what we're working on. That'll be doing as we go forward.
Right. And I think, with this, it's so important that, sports and athletics is an equalizer. And what it does is, those folks who may not find their strength in the classroom, will get the confidence on the playing field, and then it'll eventually translate into the classroom.
Yeah.
And we know that so well. And anybody who has played sports at whatever level is always going to go back into, I think we talked about this last time here, and I was very fortunate. I played basketball with a guy named Jerry Marvin, and that's where John Wooden had his basketball camps at Pacific Palisades High School. And Jerry and John were close, and yada yada yada. And you just remember those experiences. They never leave you, for God's sake. Right. In this area, Abby. So talk about what do you get most out of doing what you're doing now as a camp director, which is very different than being an athlete.
I think it's easy. I mean, I
okay.
I graduated school in this past December.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going into the corporate adult world, whatever that may mean. But I think when I go work with children, I go back and I come back and I see how they work and how they move, what they're thinking. I'm thinking, I was here once, I was in this position once, like, what can I do to help them excel in the future and help them feel comfortable throughout the rest of their lives? Like, what can I do? What impact can I make? Like, that's really the biggest thing. And I love it when kids are like, I'm not really a fan of this. Can we try this? And I love hearing the feedback. I love hearing things, because that means that you're comfortable in telling me things. But we're also, it's also not 100% like free will, like, it's really important to have structure.
100%.
And especially just because a lot of them have just such short attention spans, which I totally understand, because my attention span is not great either. So when you are running games and everything, at the end, like, you should always stop a game at its peak so that they want to go back to it. If you keep going and then it becomes kind of overkill and they don't want to go back to it. Yep. So I'm learning things like this every single day with kids. And I think it's really, really great experience. And even like, no matter what your profession is, no matter what you're interested in, this teaches so much patience. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to come in every day and learn and be patient with kids, especially if you don't have a lot of experience.
You can see why we want her on our team.
Right? Well, there's no question about that. And you said something, Aaron, that is just absolutely spot on. You want to have kids have fun. My goodness, you got to have fun, right? But there are rules.
Right.
And I think what's so important, we're in a society today where no one believes there are rules, and you just go, really? No, that is something you shouldn't be doing. Yeah. And listen, there are rules, and there are going to be consequences if you break those rules. Okay, whether you foul out of a game, or you get kicked out of a game, or you get a technical foul, or you get a red card, or whatever the case may be. That is so important to learn, that when you get into the rule, no, you can't do everything you want to do, and break the rules on this. We're chatting again with Aaron Locks, founder and CEO of National Academy of Athletics, joined by Camp Director Abby Ross. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed, Credit Union. And again, we can have this conversation and not stop for 3 hours and not even come close to talking about everything. But something I think you and I might have talked about the first time, Aaron, and I think it's worth repeating. Encourage kids to play more than one sport. Talk about that.
Our belief is two things. One is a child's body is an all-terrain vehicle, and they need to learn how to use it. And we can talk about all the surgeries and all the headaches and all the things that are coming from specialization.
That's right.
If you're a parent out there and you got a child from 5 to 13, have them play everything.
Yeah.
And when I say play everything, I'm even talking piano. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But get it, because the more they move their bodies, the more they try these things with different coaches, different experiences, sometimes they're going to thrive, sometimes they're not, and that's important. And so I would say that's the first part. The second part is that with specialization comes the burnout.
Yep.
And the burnout ends up happening where there's a stat, again, I'm the stat guy today, I guess, right? 61% of kids that sign up to play a sport, that play that single sport only, after 2 seasons, they're done playing.
Right.
And the problem is they won't go back and play it later because they got burnt out on it. So my suggestion is play a season, don't let them play more than 3 months, 4 months, and then do something different. What Abby said, which is big on our philosophy, is at the peak, when it's the most fun and things are great, okay, we're going to switch something else. But wait, I want to do that. We know that.
Yep.
But here's the deal. We'll come back to it. And then it's still exciting. But if you make them do it continuously going forward, they're out.
Right. Kristen, you got a final question?
I just wanted to say yes to all those things. I was just reading about the injuries, because kids are playing a specialization in a totally different way than they did. And I love exposing them to all sorts of different sports too, because I wanted to throw out there that, not only do they need to be exposed to rules, but, if I left it to Declan, he's crying about going camping and I know he's going to get there and he's going to love it. But if I'm like, oh, we're not going to go, they need to be exposed to some new things.
Exactly.
And then this is such a beautiful way to do that.
Right.
So
What can we do to support you guys?
We got two targets right now. This summertime, if you're in San Marcos area or La Mesa area, sign up for camps.
Okay.
Come play. Come play with Abby the Great and the staff. That's amazing, right?
Right.
That's one. Two is we're also looking to partner with, because everything we run is in partnership with schools,
Right,
and with cities. So if you're involved with a city municipality that's looking to bring more youth sport programming, bring us in. We're open to that, and or schools. We actually do physical education in schools,
Right.
After school sports. So that would be the best way, and they can catch us through our website at nationalacademyofathletics.com. There's all sorts of information there on the social medias and all the other places.
Right. Well, listen, more to come. Aaron, definitely, we're just skimming the surface on all the stuff that we can do on this. Abby, what an absolute pleasure meeting you, and we'll have you back in as well. Think about the next time you're in, bring in a family or a kid that has benefited from the camp or whatever the case may be. Bring the parent in too, especially that, my God, this has changed my kid's life because of X, Y, and Z, because we know that is the street cred around that. Always a pleasure chatting with you, Aaron. An honor to meet you, Abby, and we hope our listeners enjoyed this edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. It was a good interview. Thanks.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.